We begin the Gemara today on Daf Kuf Mem Hey Amud Aleph, 4 lines down from the top of the Yamud. Okay, so the Gemara before brought the halacha of a woman that got married, Kedushin, but the marriage was never concluded. There was never Nisuin. Now, in such a case, the Gemara said a svara, what happens if it's the husband, the one that died? So the money that was given to her for the Kedushin, does she have to give back that money? Because he gave it to her for Kiddushin, but only because he was planning on actually living with her, to Nisuin. But now he couldn't live with her. But the Gemara said in a case where the husband is the one that died, so she could say, I don't want to give back the money to the Yarshim of my husband that died, because it's not my fault that he died, that I can't finish off and get married to him. So therefore I can keep the money of the Kiddushin. That was the svara the Gemara said. So the Gemara is going to discuss this and bring here that l'chayre this is a argument between Tanaim. Okay, so the Gemara leime, shall we say, tunu li baili. This idea that a woman could come and say regarding the money of the Kiddushin that she got, and she doesn't want to return it, even though the husband now died and she's not ending up to get married to him. But again, like I said, she's saying, it's not my fault, he died. And if you bring me my husband, I'm ready to complete the marriage and be with him. So Tanoi, shall we say that this svara is a machlokes Tanoi? The Tanya, we learned in the Braisa. Hama'aris Seisha, a person that was Mekadesh, a woman, and then what happened? He died. So Psula Goyve Masayim. A Psula will collect 200 zuz for the ksuba. That's the value of a ksuba. Va'almona mana. And almona collects a ksuba of 1 mana. As it always is, the difference between the ksuba of a besula and an almana. Now, mokim shenog ulahachze kedushin, in a place where the minig is that she has to give back the money of the kedushin, machzirin, she gives back that money. Mokim shenog shaloi lahachze kedushin, in a place where there isn't a minig to give back the money of the kedushin, ein machzirin, she does not have to give back the money. Divrei Rab Nosson. This is what Rab Nosson says. Okay, so you see here, when it comes to the money of the kedushin, does she have to give it back when the husband died? It's up to the minig. Rabbi Yudah Nasi says, the truth is that was said, Be'emes usually means that he's saying that we should paskin this way, that Mokim Shenogel Lahachzer Machzirin, in a place where the minig is to return, you return. Mokim Shenogel Shaloi Lahachzer Ein Machzirin, in a place where there is no minig to return, so then you don't return. Okay, so now, Gemara immediately asks, what Rabbi Yehuda is saying is identical to what Rav Nosson is saying. The Gemara, Rabbi Yehuda HaNasi, Haina Tanakama, he's saying the same thing as the Tanakama, Rav Nosson. What is the difference between them? So Elalav, don't you think that what they're arguing about is Tanuli Baili ve'esmach imai ikebenayu? The argument between them is regarding this svara. When the husband dies, could the wife say, I'm not returning the money of the Kiddushin, I'm ready to finish the marriage. He's not here, so that doesn't obligate me to have to return the money for the Kiddushin. Maybe that's the machlokes between them. And now to explain how this fits into this Braisa, we'll have to say, it's missing here in the words of the Braisa, and this is how you have to read this Braisa. A person that got married, Kedushin, with this woman. So, Besula Goyva Masayim Valmona Mana. The Besula, if the husband died, so she gets a ksuba of 200, and the Almana gets a ksuba of 1 mana. Then you continue in the Braisa as follows. Now, when do you say that she gets her full ksuba, and we're not going to look at the Kiddushin that she got and say, wait a minute, let's see what's the money of the Kiddushin that she's holding, that she has to return. So when do we say this? The Hodaba Ihu. If it's the husband, the one that backed out from the Kiddushin, if the husband decided to divorce her after the Kiddushin, so then he can't demand from her to give him back any of the money of the Kiddushin. He backed out here. But if she passed away, so then I say, Mokim Shenogel Lahachzer Machzirin. In a place where the minig is to give back the money, so then she's going to have to give it back, or her Yarshim are going to have to give it back. Mokim Shenogel Shaloi Lahachzer Ein Machzirin. In a place where there's no minig to give it back, then you don't have to give it back. So now this is in a case where she died. So because it's her death that's causing that the Kedushin cannot now be finished and to be followed up by Nesuin, so therefore over here, if there's a minig to give it back, then you're going to have to return this money. And now you continue, the Braisa says, V'dafke shemeisehi. This is only if she's the one that died. Ava meishu, If it's the husband, the one that died, and that's why you can't finish the marriage, ein machzirin. So then you're not going to have to give it back. Rab Nosson, the Tanakam, is saying you're not going to have to give back the money at all. My timer, what's the reason? Because in a case where it's the husband that died, so she can say, if my husband is here, I'm ready to finish the marriage, to be with him, to be happy with him. So therefore, in such a case, it's not her fault. It's not her problem. She didn't die. The husband died. She doesn't have to give. She doesn't have to give back the money of the kiddushin. Now on this, Rabbi Yehuda Nasi is arguing on the Tanakama on Rab Nosson, and he says that the truth was said, that it doesn't make a difference whether he dies, whether she dies. In a place where the minig is to give back, you have to give back. In a place where there's no minig to give back, you don't have to give back. So that means she cannot say that even in a place where there's a minig to give it back, but how could you obligate me to give it back? The husband died, not me, so it's not my problem. No, you still follow the minig that and again, that you go according to the minig. Okay, so therefore, the point the Gemara is saying here is that this is the way we could explain the pshat in this brayse. And arguing about this svara, whether in a case where the husband is the one that died, could she say that it's not my problem, it's his problem, therefore I don't have to give back the money? Says the Gemara, no, that's not necessarily the way you have to read this brayse. You don't have to say chsuri mechsere. There's another way of understanding what the machlokes of Rab Nosson and Rab Yehuda Nasi is. Kulam, everybody agrees, that a woman could come and say, Tunuli baili vesmachimai. If it's the husband that died, then she does not have to give back the money of the kiddushin because it's him that died. It's his problem. Udemisu, and therefore, if the husband's the one that died, kulal malipli, there would be no argument about this. Ki pligi, when is there a machlokes here in the brayse? Shemei sahi, when she's the one that died. Even in a case when she's the one that died, even here there's still a machlokes whether she has to give back the money or not. Because why? V'hacha, there's a more fundamental machlokes about this. B'kiddushin litribuan nitnu kamiflagi. What they're arguing is b'chlal regarding this entire subject here. Before you get to the point of that the husband died, so therefore it's not her problem. B'chlal regarding this entire concept. When a person gives a woman kesef kiddushin, and now the marriage cannot be finished. Why? Because she died. It's taka her fault. But the question is, does that mean that now the kesef kiddushin has to be returned? He gave her the money for the kiddushin. What was the husband thinking when he gave her the money for kiddushin? So the Gemara says, "V'hacha b'kiddushin l'tibuan nitnu kamiflagi." When the husband gave that money for the kiddushin, is the husband thinking the money that I'm giving it's drowned, meaning I gave it and it's like drowned in water that I'll never get it back. That's what the husband is thinking. In other words, it doesn't matter if I'm going to end up marrying her nisuin or not. The money that's given is gone. Or we say no. When a husband gives money for a kiddushin, he's giving money because he's almanas with the das that he's going to end up getting married to her. If he doesn't end up ever marrying her because she died, so then al das there he didn't want to give this money for the kiddushin. That's the machlokes regarding the das of the husband when he gives the money for the kiddushin. Now, just to point out, the Rishonim, the Achrayim discuss here. I brought it up when the Gemara brought this up already on the previous daf. That some say that regarding the shava pruta of the kesef kiddushin, that nobody will argue that you don't have to give it back because it's the actual minimum amount of the shava pruta is the amount that creates the kinyan of the kiddushin here, and that she acquires either way, even if later she doesn't end up nisuin fully marrying him, it doesn't matter, that you don't give back. The Gemara is discussing when you give a ring or whatever it is that has more value, whether that extra value, what did the husband think when he's giving this? Is he giving the ring with the extra value for her to keep no matter what? It's drowned, it's gone. Or no, he's only giving it because he's going to end up fully marrying her. That's the argument here. Others say that it refers even to the Shava Pruta, even Mamish, the entire Kiddushin, which is difficult to understand because l'chayra that already, she was kaina for the Kiddushin. But akapanim, that's the machlokes over here. So the Gemara explains, Rab Nosson says, Kiddushin, lav l'tibun nitnu. The Kiddushin that you gave, you didn't give it, that it's gone, I gave it to her regardless if I end up marrying her or not. It's not drowned. It depends on if you end up marrying her or not. And therefore Rab Nosson says that it's going to depend on the minig. Right? We say that it's not l'tibuin, but still, because it's not l'tibuin, so what's going to be the halacha b'payil? What's the das of the person? It depends on the minig. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says, no, kiddushin l'tibuin nitnu. That when a person gives money for a woman, he's marrying her, the kesef kiddushin is l'tibuin, it's drowned, it's gone. That's his das. And therefore, it doesn't make a difference what the minig is. He can't ever take it back. That's the machlekes. Oh, so now the Gemara right away explains, how does this fit into the words of Rabbi Yehuda Nasi? Our whole question was that Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says the same like Rab Nassan, that it does depend on the minig. So you can't say Rabbi Yehuda Nasi holds that once you give the money for the kiddushin, it's tibuin, it's gone. That says the Gemara, when Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says that, he's talking about something else. This is what he meant to say. The sivloinus, besides the kesef kiddushin, the additional gifts that the chassan gave to the kala by the kiddushin. So that regarding this, vadai we say that it will depend on the minig whether if she died and they didn't end up getting fully married, whether you have to give that back. If you look into the lashon of the brayse, when Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says be'emes omru makom shenogel hachzer, he's not. It doesn't say clearly kesef kiddushin. It doesn't say kiddushin. But Rabbi Nassan says, he says makom shenogel hachzer kiddushin. Rabbi Yehuda Nasi says makom shenogel hachzer. It doesn't say clearly what he's talking about. So therefore, the Gemara now says that it's not talking about the kesef kiddushin. It's talking about the sivloinus, the additional gifts that the husband gives. So the Gemara v'hani tanoi kahani tanoi. The argument that we just explained there between these tanoim, when you give kesef kiddushin, whether it's litibuin, whether the husband's giving it that it's drowned, it's gone, or not. So we find that other tanoim argue on the same subject. Tanya is learned in the brayse kitcha bekikar. A person is mekadesh a woman with a kikar, which is very expensive. So he gave her something that has the value of a kikar, which is either, the Rash Bamir says, it's 25 mana, or others say that it's 60 mana. Very, very, very valuable, something very valuable, a valuable ring, whatever it is, for the kiddushin. Okay, and now what happened? So over here, the Brayse goes on to say that Besula Goyve Masayim, that now they didn't end up getting married. So seemingly what happened over here is the husband died. So now there's a ksuba that has to be paid. So if she's a besula, so she takes 200 for the ksuba of a besula. Va'almana mana, and the almana takes the ksuba of an almana, which is just one mana. Divrei Rab Meir. That's the opinion of Rab Meir. Now the point that Rab Meir is saying over here is that very valuable kikar for the kiddushin that she got, she keeps it. She keeps it fully. In addition, she also goes and collects a ksuba. Okay. Now Rabbi Yehuda says, well, she gets a ksuba. Besula goyve masayim v'almana mana. The besula takes the ksuba of 200, and the almana takes the ksuba of the almana, which is 100. But from where does she get that ksuba? We get that ksuba by deducting it from the value of that kicker that she got for the kiddushin. Because really, that kicker that she got for the kiddushin, she has to return it. So now, so she can keep from that kicker the value of the ksuba, either a masayim or a mana. But the rest, she's going to have to return. Okay, so here you see pretty clearly that the argument between Rabbi Meir and Rabbi Yehuda is regarding this point, whether the valuable kesef kiddushin that she got in this amount of a kicker, do you have to return it or not? Now, Rabbi Yosi says that it works this way. Kitcho be'esrim, if he was mekadesher with something that has a value of 20 golden dinar, then noisan lo shloishim chatzoim. He's going to have to give her, she's going to get 30 half a dinner, or 30, actually, let me just rephrase that again. He was mekadesher with esrim 20 shkolim, which is the same as dinner, 20 shkolim. So then she's going to get back 30 half a shkolim. Kitcha b'shloishim, if it was mekadesher with 30 shkolim, then noisan lo esrim. Then she's going to get an esrim chatzayin, that is 20 half a shkolim. You cannot the cheshbon of what Rabbi Yosi is saying, what this means. The Gemara is going to explain. Okay, but now here, as the Gemara started off, it's going to point out that Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yosi, they're arguing on this point. When a husband gives kesef kiddushin, and then he doesn't end up marrying her fully, what do we say? Do we say that the money that he gave is gone? Or no, he gets back that kesef kiddushin? Okay, but before the Gemara explains that, the Gemara first explains what is the case of the brayse that it's talking about, that this Isha is getting a ksuba here. But Maya Skina, what's the case here? Is the case over here that the reason why the marriage was not concluded is because she's the one that died. So, but that can't be the case of this brisa because mi is la ksuba. In such a case, she's the one that died. She doesn't get a ksuba. Aisha gets a ksuba if whether her husband died or her husband divorced her. So it's not a case where she died. So the case over here is that he's the one that died. But if that's the case, though, then amai machzeres lo yisashar. So how would we explain then the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda that says that in a case where the husband died and she has to get a ksubah, where does she get the ksubah from? We deduct from the value of this kikar that she got, and she has to now return that kikar besides the value of the ksubah that she's going to take, right? That's what we said. But if the husband is the one that died, so then why do we do that? V'neime, why wouldn't we say here, the svara that we said before, that everybody agrees to this, Tunuli baili vesmachimai. Then why should I give back the kesef kedushin if what's preventing this kedushin of completing into an isuin is not me, it's the husband that died. So therefore I should be able to keep the kesef kedushin fully and in addition get my ksubah. Why do we have to deduct? So how would we explain the opinion of Rabbi Yehuda here? So therefore the Gemara says the way to explain this brayse is not a case where he died, not a case where she died, but rather it's a different story. We're talking about the wife of a Yid she was mezana, and because she was mezana, so therefore now the husband is divorcing her, and she's getting a ksubah. Okay, so now the Gemara clarifies, when is there a case where someone's wife was mezana, and now he's divorcing her, and she gets a ksubah? Ubamai, what's the case here? If when she was mezana with someone while she's an eshes ish, mi yisla ksubah. In such a case, she doesn't get a ksubah. If a woman that's mezana berotzen, so he has to divorce her, and she gets no ksubah. So then it must be that if we're saying she's getting a ksubah, then this nus that happened when she was married was a oines. But if that's the case, why is he divorcing her? Mishra sharyele. If she's married to a Yisrael's wife that was mezana, and it was a oines, it was against her will, in such a case she's mutter to go back to her husband. He doesn't have to divorce her. So Mishra sharyele. So ve'ela, what's the case over here? Be'eshes kayin. We're talking about the wife of a kayin. Shenansa, and it wasn't oines. It was by force that there was a znus that happened while she is married to him. And now, in such a case, by the kayin, the halacha is that she's not allowed to go back to her husband, even though it was an oines. She can't go back to her husband, and the husband has to divorce her. But because it was an oines, she gets ksubah, and that's what the brayse is talking about. That after the kiddushin, they couldn't complete it into nisuin. And then a oines happened, and now he's forced to divorce her, and she's getting a ksubah. Now, what's the argument? And they're arguing regarding the money that this kayin, the husband, gave her for the kiddushin. What happens to that kesef kiddushin? Do we say that kesef kiddushin, which in this case was a very valuable, it was a kikar, is that money gone? Is it drowned or not? Rav Meir says, the money that you gave for kiddushin, you gave it with the das that it's given, it's gone, and I'm not ever getting it back. And therefore now she keeps that kikar, and she's also going to get the payment of her ksubah as well. Rav Yehuda holds no, that the money that was given for the kiddushin is not drowned, it's not gone, and therefore she does not keep that kikar. She has to give it back. You're going to deduct the amount, the value of her ksubah that she can keep from that kikkar of the kiddushin, but the rest she's going to have to give back. Okay, so now how do we explain what Rabbi Yossi says? Rabbi Yossi misapkelei. Now Rabbi Yossi has a suffix about this. Ili tibunit no. Do we say that it was given, the money is given, and it's gone? She does not have to give it back, or not, or maybe she does have to give it back. There's a suffix about this. So therefore, what's going to be the halacha in a case where there's a suffix? We're going to say achleiku. We split it. Half she could keep from this kesef kiddushin, and half she does not keep. Okay, so this is either because Rabbi Yossi is passing like sumchas, that anytime there's money that's in a suffix, so we divide it, or maybe over here, even not like sumchas, even according to the chachamim that don't hold of that opinion, but over here there's a takanas chachamim that it's divided. So therefore the cheshbon of what Rabbi Yossi is saying comes out as follows. And here, the Gemara is going to make the cheshbon that Rabbi Yossi is speaking about, a ksubah of an almana. So the value of the ksubah of an almana is just one mana. Okay, so now what happened? So now he explains the lashon of the brayse that Rabbi Yossi said. If he was mekadesher with 20 shkalim, what's 20 shkalim? Every shekel is 4 dinarim, or dinarim is also known as zuzim. Every mana is made up of 100 zuz, or 100 dinar. Okay, so if he was Mekadesher with 20 shkolim, 20 shkolim means that it's 80 zuz, or 80 dinar. Okay, so right there you have the value of 80 zuz, which is most of the value of her ksuba. Now, this 80 zuz that she got for her kiddushin, she could only keep half of it, which means that she'll only keep 40 zuz out of the full value of a moneh that she has to get for her ksuba from this kesef kiddushin. So now she only has for her ksuba, towards her ksuba, she only has 40 zuz. And therefore, Naisin law, Shloishim, Chatzayin, he's going to have to give her to make up for that additional amount. She already has 40, so now he's going to have to give her 30 half shkolim. 30 half shkolim is another 60 zuz to make up the rest of the amount that he owes her for the ksuba. That's the first part of what Rabbi Yossi said in the Braisa. The second case, Rabbi Yossi said, if the case was that Kitcha b'shleishim, if he was Mekadesher with 30 shkolim, now again, every shekel is 4 zuz, which means that if he was Mekadesher with 30 shkolim, so that's the value of 120 zuz, which is actually even more than the amount of what her ksuba is. Her ksuba is just 100 zuz, 1 mana, and he was Mekadesher with 30 shkolim, that's 120 zuz. So now you split that also in half. How much could she keep from that? Only 60 of the zuz. So now she's missing 40 zuz towards the payment of her ksuba. So Naisalah, Esrim, Chatzayim, so he's going to have to make that up and give her 20 half a shkolim. 20 half a shkolim is 40 zuz to make up the remainder that he owes her for the ksuba. So again, it's all based on the idea Rabbi Yossi holds that it's a suffix, and therefore she keeps half of the kiddushin, and the husband's going to have to pay her the other half, or whatever remainder there is missing from the ksuba that he owes her. Okay, so now what's the halacha regarding this whole machlokes here, whether the money of kiddushin is letibuin or not? Omer Rav Yosef bar Menyaimi, Omer Rav Nachman, b'chol mokim shenog lahachzer machzirin. Anywhere where the minig is that if it's the woman that died, if the minig is to give it back, so then you have to give it back. Okay, so that's only if this is the minig. Okay, so meaning that we don't say that the kiddushin is letibuin. V'teguman, and they explained when he said b'chol makim, wherever the minig is, that where's every place? That's nerda. That's what the minig was in nerda. Now shar bavel mai, and the rest of bavel, what is the halacha? Rabbi and Rav Yosef damri tarvayu. So Rabbi and Rav Yosef both said mayari. The mayari, these are the sevlainis that the Gemara spoke about before, the gifts. Okay, let me just go back a second. So. I'm going to go back over here. Amar Rav Yosef, Bar Menyaimi, Amar Rav Nachman. Rav Yosef, Bar Menyaimi says the name of Rav Nachman. B'chol makim shenog ulahachzer machzirin. Every place, anywhere where the minig is to give back the money of the kiddushin, so you follow that minig and you give it back. Now, where's b'chol makim? V'tirgema, and they translated, they explained, every place is in nerda. Shar bavel mai, and the rest of bavel, what's the halacha? Rabbi Rav Yosef damri tavayu. Rabbi and Rav Yosef both say mayari hadri. The gifts that were given here, that's going to go back. Kiddushi loy hadri, but the kesef kiddushin will not go back. It's l'tibuin, and therefore does not go back. Rav Papa said a little different. Hilcha said the halacha is ben shemesu, whether he died, ben shemesahi, whether she died, or another case v'hader behu, in a case where he backed out from the kiddushin, he went and divorced her after the kiddushin. So, Mayeri Hadri, the gifts that he gave for the Kala, that'll get back. But Kiddushi Loy Hadri, the Kiddushin he does not get back because the Kiddushin is Latibuin. However, Hadra Ba'ihi, even though we just said that the Kiddushin is Latibuin, once he gave it, it's gone and he does not get it back. But here Rav Papa says there's one exception to this. Hadra Ba'ihi, if she is backing out from the Kiddushin and she wants a get, then Afili Kiddushin Nami Hadri. Then even the Kiddushin, he will get back. Because even if you say Kiddushin L'Tibun Itnu, but not in a case where she's backing out of the Kiddushin. If she died, or he dies, so then he doesn't get back, or the Yarshim don't get back the money of the Kiddushin. But if she's backing out from this, then over here the husband will get back the money of the Kiddushin. Or others say this is a knas, even if you say it's like Tibun, but because she's backing out from the Kiddushin, the money of the Kiddushin goes back. Ameimer says Kiddushi loy hadri. that we never give back the money of the Kiddushin, and Amem is arguing on this last point of Rav Papa, even in a case where she backed out, and it's her fault, and maybe there should be a knas for this, that she backed out, that she should give back the money of the Kiddushin, but no, we never give it back. Why? Because it's Gzeira. Gzeira, Shemi Yoimru, Gzeira, then people will say that she was never married. Look, the money of the Kiddushin went back, that means that she was never married, and therefore people will say, Kiddushin Toivsim B'Chaisa, that now this man could go and marry this woman's sister. You're not allowed to marry your sister as long as the sister is alive. You can't marry. People will say, oh, the Kiddushin never took effect because you gave back the money of the Kiddushin. So therefore you can't, it's Gzeira not to give back the money of the Kiddushin, so people don't make this mistake. Ravashi says that's not a concern. Gita mechiach alal. The fact that she's actually getting a get here is proof that she was once married. So everyone will know that this man cannot marry the sister. But the Gemara says about what Ravashi said, what Ravashi said is incorrect because we can't rely on the get. There are those that may hear about the fact that the money of the Kiddushin was returned and say that she was never married, and they didn't hear about the fact that she got a get, and therefore there's still a concern about this. Okay, going back to the Mishnah before on Daf Kuf Mem Daled said, Shashvinis Nigbiz Bebezdin. It said about the gifts that a person gives when he comes and joins his friend's chasana. And in those times, the way it was set up was that you come to a chasana and you give a certain amount of money to participate in the expenses of the chasana, and that's what's called Shashvinis. And it wasn't a matana gemura. It wasn't really a full gift. It was given with the understanding that when your friend is going to come and join you and you marry off of your child, that he's going to give you back money for the expenses of your chasana. Therefore, it's something that you can collect in Bezdin. If the person is not going to give you back that gift when he comes and joins your chasana, it's like almost like a loan. You can go and demand it in Bezdin. Now, Tanir Rabbana, so we learned in the Braisa, Chamishu Dvarim Nemru B'Shashvinis. There are 5 halachas that were said about this payment of the Shashvinis. Number 1, like we said in the Mishnah, Nigbeis Bebezdin. You can collect it from the one that you gave Shashvinis to. When he comes and joins your simcha, you can collect it in Bezdin. Another halacha, V'Chizeres Ba'inasa. You can only collect it from him in its time, meaning when you actually make a chasana and he's joining a chasana, so now you collect it then. Another halacha, Ve'emba Mishum Ribis. The concept of ribis, that you give back more than what you got, does not apply here. You can give back extra, more than what your friend gave you. And Ve'en Hashmiis Misham Tasa. The halacha of Shmita that applies by all loans, that it absolves all obligations of loans, does not apply here. You have to give it back even after Shmita. And also, by a Bechor that his father that gave the Shashvinis, and now the father died, and now the friend is coming and giving back, and for this Bechor, the Tiyarshan now, this Shashvinis, the Bechor does not get a double portion from this Shashvinis. Okay, so the Gemara explains now all details that the Braisa said here. Nigbiz bebezdin, Shashvinis is something that you can collect in a bezdin. My time, why is this? Kamil v'damya. It's like a loan. It's not a full gift. It's something that was given with the understanding that you'll be able to collect back when you make a chasana. Now, if so, you would think there should be ribis. It's not much like a loan. So therefore, we say ve'ein bo mishum ribis. No, but the ribis does not apply here. Why not? The lab adaita dahachi yavle. When you are giving the gift, or whatever amount of money you gave to your friend when he made chasana, you weren't giving it thinking that when you're going to make a chasana, your friend is going to give you back extra, which is what the idea of ribis is, that you give the money and you allow the person to keep it for a period of time on condition that he gives you interest, that he gives you extra. Now your friend decides to give you back more money, a bigger gift. That's not the idea of ribis. Your friend is happy that you're making a chasana, he wants to give you even more, he could afford more, and he's giving you more. That's okay, it's considered to be like a gift. Right, then, even though you may argue and think so, if so, say the same thing by a loan, that if the interest that was not made up in advance, and when it comes to pay, the borrower wants to give back extra, maybe you should be allowed to give ribis. Ribis is only if you make it up in advance. Ribis ktsutza, but midrabana you're not allowed to give back later more. Why? Because soft by ribis. Why are you giving back more? You're only giving back more because you're showing appreciation for the fact that he allowed you to keep his money for a certain period of time. That's called aganatar. That you're giving back extra for the fact that he allowed you to keep his money. So that is like ribis minatayret, chacham masrid. Here, when you're giving back someone extra money when he makes a chasana, why are you giving him back extra money? Not because of the fact that he allowed he kept your money for a period of time. It's not what it's about. He's very happy with the simcha, and he wants to give extra because of the simcha. So that has nothing to do with the union of ribis.
There's a chance that the other guy might not get married.
No, that's another sort of true. That's and a chanami. Yeah, but okay, but B'Poil though now when you're paying back, so but. Yeah.
It's not a loan.
Yeah, it's not exactly. Yeah, it's right. It's not a regular loan. No, that the sort that you just said is giving a gay here to Shmita. Let's see. Now, like the Gemara here says, "Ve'ein shvius misham tosa." Shmita will not absolve this kind of a loan or this kind of payment of the shishvinis. Why not? Because the only reason why shvius absolves a loan is that you're not allowed to collect the loan in the year of Shmita. Okay, so the way that Rashbam explains this is that the Gemara says in Makis that if you have a loan, that the time of the collection of the loan is during Shemitah, so you're not allowed to go and collect that loan during Shemitah, and that's why it gets absolved. What's if the loan was set with a date 10 years, and when Shemitah comes, that date of the collection of the loan did not arrive yet? So Shmuel says in Makis, in such a case, such a loan will not be absolved, because it's not something that's collected during Shemitah, so it doesn't get absolved. So over here as well, if Shemitah passed in the time between when your friend made a chasna and you made a chasna, but you're making a chasna a few years after Shemitah, so the Shemitah that comes in between does not absolve that kind of loan that's not being collected during Shemitah. That's Rashbam's pshat. Taisus in Makis has a different pshat of what you said before, that over here, the reason why it doesn't absolve it, because this is a kind of loan that not necessarily will it ever be collected. Maybe this person will not make a chasana, or he won't make a chasana that you'll be chayiv to pay. The Gemara is soon going to explain that there are some cases where you're not obligated to give back shishvinis. So therefore, the layigais doesn't apply there. Now, the last thing the Braisa said, when the shishvinis is returned after the father passes away, so then the b'chor does not get a double portion of this, because the havalei roy, because this is something which is just in potential. It wasn't yet in the father's possession when he died, and the klal by a b'chor is, a b'chor does not get a double portion, something that was coming to the father potentially, but he didn't have it in his possession when he died. Okay. Now here the Gemara brings more halachas regarding the shishvinis, how far this goes that you have to pay it back. Omar Rav Kahana said, "Klala the shishvinusa." The halachas about the shishvinis goes as follows. Now, so again, your friend made a chasana, and you came to the chasana, you gave him the shishvinis, and now you're making a chasana. Now he has to give you back shishvinis. Now, have a b'masa. So if your friend was in the city when you made a chasana, but he didn't come and join your chasana. So now he says, look, I didn't join you simcha. I wasn't by a chasana. I don't want to give the shishvinis. But it doesn't work that way. You should have came to the chasana. When you made a chasana, I came and joined you simcha, and I paid and I participated. So now, when I'm making a chasana, the expectation, the understanding is that you're going to come and join my simcha and also participate. So you're in the city, you don't come, you still have to participate. Now, furthermore, shoma kol tavla, if he is close enough that he's able to hear the sound of a bell that they would ring, that people should know that there's a chasana, that you should come join the chasana. So then he he hears the sound of the bell. So then he should have came and joined the chasana. If he does not hear the sound of the bell, and not only that, the one that's making a chasana now did not even let you know. He didn't invite you, and so you didn't know that he's making a chasana b'chlal. So now it's not even your fault that you didn't join his chasana. Nevertheless, you should have taken the one that's making now a chasana, so should have let him know, and he didn't let him know. Tarum is isle. So you could complain, why didn't you let me know that you're making a chasana, that you want me to come? You participated in my chasana, and you paid for your part in it, and now you expect that I should participate in your chasana, and therefore pay my part when you make a chasana, but you didn't invite me, you didn't let me know. True, you could have complaints about it, but nevertheless, shlumi mishalim. But you still have to pay your portion of his chasana, because the fact is, he paid a portion when you made a chasana, so now you have to return when he makes chasana, even if you weren't there b'poil to join the chasana to eat anything and take part at all. Now, but the Gemara explains, va'at kama, but up to what amount do you have to participate? In other words, what the Gemara is saying over here is, you definitely do you deduct a certain amount of this payment when you have to pay back, because b'poil you didn't eat anything. So even though your friend participated in your chasana, and now therefore you're going to be obligated to pay even when you did not participate in the chasana when he made, but you didn't eat b'poil, so something is deducted here. So Amar Abaye says, now no gubnei ganona zuzeh. If the meaning of the people that come and join the chasana is that you give a zuz to participate in the chasana, that's the amount of the shishvinos. So in such a case, actually, if you didn't actually join the chasana, you're going to pay nothing. Because because even if you bring it with your hands, with your palms, you're going to bring the money to participate, but you weren't by the chasana. But you're going to say, but that amount of money that you want me to give, that zuz, that's the cost of the actual suda that I did not have. I did not even eat that amount. So therefore, we deduct the full zuz that he would have to pay. So he won't have to give anything. Adar ba, up to the amount of 4 zuz, if that's the amount of the sheshvinit that's given, and now your friend gave you 4 zuz, and now he's expecting you to give back 4 zuz when he makes a chasana, but you weren't actually there by the chasana, so how much do we deduct from this? Mishalim palgas, you pay half of that, because 2 zuz is the worth of the food that you would have eaten, so then you didn't get those 2 zuz, you didn't actually participate in the chasana, we deduct half. Mikam ve'elech, if it's a place where it's a much more lavish chasana, and therefore there's a bigger amount that your friend participated with you, and there's higher numbers that there are participation, so inish kechashivusei. It's going to have to be figured out. The Bezdin will have to see according to each person, according to their prominence, according to how lavish of a chasana is made, and that's how much you would eat and how much you deduct because he wasn't there and he didn't eat. That's how the Bezdin will have to make the cheshbon regarding this. Tana Rabbanam, we learned in the Braise, Asa imay bepumbi, if when your friend made the chasana and you came and joined his chasana, he made a big nice chasana and a big hall, a public event for everyone to join. And now, now when you're making a chasana, you're making a very small, quiet, private chasana. Rashbam actually says it was an azman of a tzara, so he can't make a very public chasana. COVID, right? So he made a small chasana. So in such a case, so he says, look, I participated in your chasana, I want you to participate in the expenses of mine. That's how sheshvinis works. But in such a case, you could say to him, that if you make a chasana, a big public affair like when I made the chasana, so then I'll give you back the sheshvinis like when you gave me. But if you're making a small chasana like this, I'm not giving you back the sheshvinis. Similar, if the first chasana was that he married off his son to a psula, a first marriage, and it's a very big chasana because of this. Now, bikish lasisimi ba'almana, and now he's making a chasana, but it's with an almana, a second marriage. So you can say to him, you make a chasana with a basula like I made, so then I'll participate with you. Like you participated with me when it was a basula. If when he participated with his friend that made a chasana, it was with a second marriage, and now he wants him to participate with him with the first marriage. So you say to him, when you'll marry a second wife, and it'll be like what you participated with me with a second wife, then I'll participate with you as well. Okay, so over here, interesting, because b'shniya seemingly it's like even less of a smaller chasana, shniya. So if the first one made a chasana of a shniya, you can say to the second one, I'm only participating with you when it was similar to me, which is a shniya, only a second one. Another halacha is similar. Asi imay ba'achas, if he participated with his friend in a chasana where he was marrying one wife, now bikish lasas imay b'shtayim, and I says, I'm making a chasana, and the chasana is with 2 wives, that his son is marrying 2 wives, one chasana, then another two wives that he's marrying. And he says, look, give me back the sheshvinis, but give me back half for one and half for the other. You can say to him, when I made a chasana, I had to come and participate in one chasana you made. And I gave the amount of money for one chasana. You're making 2 chasanas? I have to go out 2 nights. 2 chasanas and give you that amount of money, half for one, half for the other. If you're making 1 chasana, I'll come. You're making 2 chasanas, I'm not giving that amount for 2 chasanas. Okay, that's a Rashbam's pshat. There's another girsa here in the Gemara that actually is the opposite, that the first one is the one that made the 2 chasanas, and now he's making 1. Okay. Talk to Gemara weiter, Tana Rabbanan, we learned in the Braise. Here, because the Gemara brought up before this Indian of Pumbi, that you make a public affair of a chasana, so the Gemara brings up another Indian with this concept of Pumbi. Ater nichsin, a person that has a lot of properties, a lot of real estate, that's what he's rich with. Or ater pumbi, a person that's rich, that is, it's everybody in the public knows his riches because you see he has a lot of cattle, which is public all over. So what could this be compared regarding a person that teaches Torah? Zeo balagodis. This is a person that teaches the stories, the agadah, the drashas of Torah. Why? Because this is someone that in any place can get up and say a nice, beautiful drasha, and everybody will enjoy his speech that he gives publicly. He speaks so nicely, even if it's not deep subjects, like a person that's rich and it's public for everyone to see. Atis loim, a person that gets rich because he's a money changer and he has a lot of coins. So this is something that you constantly make money on a daily basis. He's changing money with people. Or atir takua, a person that's rich from takua. Rashbam says in one pshat this refers to oil that comes from a city takua. Or that's one pshat. Or another pshat is takua. It means that he has houses that he rents out constantly and he makes money from as a landlord. So in such a case, there's a constant income. Zeo bal pilpul. This is a person that learns and he learns very deeply. And always with pilpul, and he finds always deep ideas in his learning on a daily basis. He always sees new deep things. Atir meshach, a person that is rich with meshach, that refers to a person that has things that are measured, but it's stored basically. It's things that he has. He owns valuables that are sitting in a storehouse, and from time to time he can sell them. Or atir kamas also means that he has things that are stored away that from time to time he sells. So, but he doesn't have a constant income from this. Zeo bal shmuis. This is a person that doesn't learn very deeply, but he has a lot of knowledge. He has a lot of bekiyas. He knows a lot, and therefore, from time to time, when you're looking for someone that has sources that can give you the shmuis, he's able to provide. Similar to this person that has stored away, that he makes income this way. And Gemara concludes, Hakol tzricha l'mari chatya. Everybody relies on the one that has the wheat that's stored away, that's needed, just like the wheat is, everybody needs the wheat for the bread that you eat constantly. And this is who? Gemara. Someone that knows Mishnayos and Gemara, which leads you to the conclusions, to the final halachas. You know what it says in the Gemara, all the pirushim, so you know the halachas b'payil. Everybody relies on someone that knows the Gemaras. Amar Rab Zayda said in connection to this, Amar Rab, in the name of Rab, what's the meaning of the pasuk where it said, Kol yemei ani roim, the life of a poor person are bad. So now, what does this refer to regarding Torah? Zebal Talmud. It refers to someone that learns Gemara, because a person that learns Gemara is constantly mutching zich. He's constantly harving with problems, questions, and stiris and answers. And then the end of the pasuk says, "V'toiv leiv mishta tamid." The one that has a glad heart is the one that he could drink constantly. Who's this? Zebal Mishnah. So one that learns Mishnayos. He learns Mishnayos. He sees the halachas. He doesn't see any questions, he doesn't see any contradictions and discussions, so therefore for him the learning is easy. Rava says, no, it's actually the opposite. Because the one that learns Mishnayos, so he learns the halachas of the Mishnah, but he can't paskin because he doesn't know how to answer contradictions. But one that knows Gemara, by him is toiv leiv, because he knows how to paskin, because he sees the answers to all the questions that there are. This is what Rav Misharshi said in the name of Rava. What is the meaning of the pasuk where it says Masia avonim yatzev b'hem, a person that brings rocks from their place, where they're carved out, and he schleps them to go and to be able to build with them. So yatzev b'hem, he gets all tired out from this. Then the pasuk says Bekeya eitzim, a person that chops wood, yiskam bam, he can heat himself from this wood. So what we see here is that the one that's taking the stones, he's working very hard, and the one that with the wood, it's easier, it's geschmack. What does this mean? Masia vonim yatzev ben, the one that has to schlep the heavy rocks, so he gets tired out. Elu bali mishnah. Those are the ones that learn Mishnayos. They can learn a lot of Mishnayos, but b'payil they don't have. They can't paskin with this. But Bekeya eitzim yiskam bam, one that is chopping the wood, so he heats himself with this. What is this? Elo baligim Talmud. This is the ones that learn Gemara that are able to paskin with this. So this is how Rava teach this pasuk, like Rava said before in the previous pasuk as well. The Gemara brings